Hey everybody, and welcome back to Learning with Juan. My name is Juan de Leon, and today we're going to be drawing Chun-Li. I have actually mixed two of her images together so that I can make a custom outfit. Since I haven't drawn in a little while, we're going to be using the grid to scale method. And the reason that I'm drawing Chun-Li is because one of my good friends, Ron, was reaching out to people to try and do a collaboration. And I decided to hop on board. So let's get started. So now that we're back at our workstation, I'm going to be putting down what I've been working on so far. Right here, I have two images of Chun-Li. These are the two that I showed earlier that I printed out, and then I cut them down to size, or match a similar size. So I removed the bottom here, the sides, just to leave the middle. This one, and you can see that I broke this one up into 16 grids. I did that simply by folding it in half and then folding it in half this way, flipping it, folding it in half this way, and then doing the same lengthwise. Doing that a couple times, and that'll give you a grid of 16. And the other side for a printer, the other thing that I am going to be using is, I believe this is a 90-degree ruler, mechanical pencil. If I am able to get to it, I'm hoping to use some colored pencils to color it in. And I'm going to be using my calipers. And I'm going to use this to try and replicate a line drawing of Chun-Li. And I'm going to try and create my own outfit for her. So I'm going to start off by making a square really quickly. Alright, so I just finished making the square, and now we're gonna check. You always double check to make sure that your proportions are correct when you're using the grid scale method, because if they're a little off, your ratio is gonna be a little off. Makes it look like someone put a filter and like warped your image a little. So you always double check to make sure that your proportions are in order. For the frame that I drew, it's going to be 372 millimeters by 280 millimeters. Chun-Li image is 194 millimeters by 142 millimeters. So all I'm going to do is pull up my calculator here. I'm going to turn up my brightness. And okay. So now we're going to check our ratios. We're going to do that by getting the big number and divide it by the smaller number. We're going to start with 372. You're going to divide that by 194. And that's going to give us 1.92. Okay, so that's the ratio. I forgot the symbol for ratio. The decimal is going to be 18997. And then to check the other one, we're going to do the exact same, which is going to be 280 divided by 142, which is 1.97 equals, and that's 16971. So this ratio is a little bit off. We can change one of them to match the other. I'm gonna make this one a little bit shorter. Gonna change this to this. By clearing that, I'm going to 142 times 1.92. So I need to change this number to 272.6 millimeters. So that's this one right here. That's gonna be this height. So I'm gonna need to subtract 7.36 millimeters. Should bring it to like right around here. So the way that I'm doing this is I got my calipers out. I set it to 7.36, and all I'm doing is marking it and sliding it across. Then I line up the base again. I'm gonna make another little line right there. And now these three lines are at the same distance from this thicker line. And I'm going to come back with this. I believe it's a 90-degree ruler. I'm going to line up this side over here. Actually, I'm going to start on this side. A little bit more light over here. And continue that right over here. Okay, and all of the drawing that I would have done before, this would have been the difference in the entire ratio. So imagine like in Photoshop, when you get an image and then you just like go up a little and it just makes everything just a little bit longer. That's exactly how every drawing, how this would have come out by this much. So I'm just gonna continue going and I'm just gonna stay inside of these lines. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is take this and fold it in half. I like to start in the middle, work my way out, and then I go in with something rough and flat. It could be pencil, knife, scissors, anything with a nice hard surface for you to just get a very crisp line. Just go back with pencil. And then I do a reverse fold. And this is one of the reasons why I like to use mechanical pencils, is you just extrude the lead a little bit, and then you can very simply color the entire line. So that when you open it, you can see much clearer as to where you have marked. I'm gonna do these two side by side, and I'm not gonna mark one of them and see if it actually makes a difference. Okay, so let's see if you can tell the difference. Which one has the pencil marking on it, or the graphite marking on it, and which one doesn't? See this. Okay, well, this is the side that had the graphite. This one did not have any. So now that you've seen it without, I'm gonna go ahead and add another line and see if it makes a difference. Okay, so now I went in and did mark it. So I would say that it definitely helps a little, but not as much as I initially thought it did. So I'm gonna finish making this grid, and then I'm gonna divide this into 16 individual squares so it can match the same as the photos. The way that I'm dividing this into the 16 squares is I'm getting the number, which is 372. I divide that by 2, which makes it 186. Measure it out from one of the lines to 186. Measured it out 3 different times. Connected the dots to make it in half. And now I'm repeating it right here with a quarter. And half of 186 is 93. So I went to 93 3 different times. And now I'm connecting the 3 to get my straight line. And I'm going to do that lengthwise as well. So I'll see you when it's all done. Okay, so as you can see, this page now has 16 sheets, just like this page has 16 sheets, as well as this one having 16 squares. All we're going to do is we're going to slowly transfer each one individually, and I'm going to start off with, I like to always start off with the smallest ones, which is literally this thumb. My job is to get this bump on this sheet because it is second from the bottom, just that little bump. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from here to here, from here to here, and then up this way a couple of times so I can build a basic profile. I can also measure from here to here and keep it shorter. So I figured I'd show you guys how to do one of them. So I'm just gonna zoom in, get really close in here. So I'm gonna go right in here, come in with my calipers. So I'm gonna just zoom out a smidge so you can see what's going on. Okay, so I'm gonna close it, 0 them, up to this very base, and I'm gonna pull until I can get that nice and flush. I'm gonna say that that is 11.58 millimeters. Gonna spin it. That height is 3.14 millimeters. Then like when it comes into here, it gets a little tricky, like when you're trying to scale in through here. So one trick that I like to do is I like to just fold the entire thing that way. And then I can rest my calipers just against the line so I know that I'm flat. And I can get a accurate reading. So say it comes in contact right around there. 20 millimeters. And it's gonna do the entire length should be okay. So I'm gonna take those measurements and I am gonna write them all down. Have them all written down right here. And I'm gonna multiply all of these by the original number, which was 1.92. So we're gonna have a ratio of 1 to 1.92. And these are our ones, and to get their sequential figures, you just have to multiply them by that. So it's just gonna be 11.58 times 1.92 22, and that's going to turn into 22.23 millimeters. Next one is 3.14 times 1.92. It's going to be 6.03. So it's going to be 20.03 times 1.92. Turn into 38.4576. Okay, so now I'm going to use the calipers to put all those numbers in. I'll be right back. Alright, so as you can see, I've completed putting all of those in, and as a form of reference, let's take this and fold it like that, and that is the image I am trying to make. So from this line, which is up here, I'm just going to connect them in a loose C shape. Just go like this. Just try and match it a little. Then it slopes or droops down to from this one to this one. And then it just continues to curve all the way to right here. Alright, and that is the very first part done. And remember, you're not trying to get a super ultra picturesque perfect image. You're just getting a line drawing on the paper so that you can continue your work. So I'm gonna do this for all 16 of the squares, and there was one step that I forgot to mention. Before you go on, what you're gonna wanna do is go ahead and trace all of it so that you know exactly where all of your lines are. And when you get into some stuff over here, like when you're like this and you can't really discern where it stops and where it continues, if you've drawn it in, it makes it way easier. Like if I was trying to draw this part right here, like which part of it would I be drawing, which part would I not? But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and outline both of these images, and then I'm gonna start transferring them over. Alright, so I have just gone through both of these and outlined them so you can really see their figures and where I am going to be able to get a distance so that I can transfer it to the other image. Get it in the right light. And that, like, this was impossible to see. And same thing with some bits up here. It just got really confusing. And figuring out where her body was inside of this cloudy shape was quite difficult. But yeah, so now that we have finished all of that, we already have one entire square done with this one. So I'm feeling pretty good. So what I think I'm gonna focus on is trying to decide which hairstyle I want. Actually, I'm gonna go with this one, so I'm gonna be using this one's face. Probably this one's shoulders pads and design, because that's just her traditional blue and gold. Then I'm gonna go with the brace gauntlets instead of the spikes, and I'm gonna put the fingernail polish on there. I think I'm gonna keep this body's outline, but with this one's like torso. Then I'm gonna have to really highlight her leg right here. Okay, so the way that I'm doing the hand is you're doing one little slash right here by finding the length, like so. Right, in this case, it's gonna be 11.83, which is what I have over here. and then I multiply it by our ratio, which is still 1.26. That gives me 22.71, and we're stopping at the 1 because that's how far this goes, and we are not rounding. Whatever it stops at, it stops at. So we get that multiplication, and then you just make a straight line just like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get this one, and we're going to figure out just how high away it is, or how low it is from the line. Okay, so just like I said, I got the height right here. I multiplied that into our ratio, and then I drew this line going across. So that line is represented by this dot right there. So all I'm going to try and do now, so I'm going to try and keep it in frame while I do it, is try and just get a very similar slope that's connecting this dot, which is this one, that one connected to that one, connected to that one. As you can see, it's a pretty good slant, and that's all I'm gonna go for. Okay, and now I feel like so far that's looking pretty good, just like that. Kind of want to round this off a little to make it look a little bit more like the picture. But yes, so the main focus is to just get all the lines in order and then go back and do the details that I'm doing right now. If you get stuck doing that like I just did for 2 seconds, you're going to lose a lot of time. It's more important to put things in there that are a little off and move on and get the whole image on the canvas, your sheet or whatever you're drawing on, and then go make the fine details. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off this square. Okay, so I said I was gonna come back when I was done, but something happened that I anticipated happening later on, not exactly at the very beginning, but good that it happened. So when I measured from here to here and I got the equation, it gave me this number. So that the tip of her thumb is going to be 2820 millimeters away. That puts it right here. And as you and I can see, this line is supposed to be represented by this one, and that is not over here. So I must have had a shift somewhere on one of these measurements. I went back and I was off by just that much. The old line was right here. So make sure that your measurements are right, and it's okay if it goes wrong. You can erase it and fix it like I'm doing right now. So I'm gonna leave it in there so you can see the corrected version over the other version, and then just how you can't even see it when you're done. So this is where I am so far with the first square. I feel like that's going pretty well. You let it zoom in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the entire arm. I had to move down to the floor because I have back issues. So I'm gonna just speed draw through this. And I had already stopped writing down the calculations because just doing it in the calculator is so much faster. I'm going to be finishing up the entire arm. Okay, so here's how far I have gotten. So I have the whole arm down. So this is taking really long just to do little clips. So I'm gonna finish off everything that I need from this photo so that I can start getting all the things that I need from this photo. All I am doing again is just tallying random spots on here and then putting them in the exact same spots back over here and then basically connecting the dots. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up everything that I need from this photo and then I'm gonna jump into the other one. Alright, so I just completed taking all the parts that I wanted from this photo of Chun-Li. Like as you can see, I have all the markings on there, and then all I did was transfer them directly onto the other form or sheets. And now I'm gonna go in and darken in all the lines, give them a really nice defined point, and also erase a lot of those marks. And then I'm gonna repeat the entire thing with the other photo. So then after a little cleaning up, I combined this one and got this one. I really like it. I think I'm gonna go in and look up another one of Chun-Li's outfits and just fill out the whole front of her dress. But so far, I think it cleaned up really well, and I can't wait to add color to it. So I'm gonna finish up her dress after I find another picture, and hopefully, actually, I think I'm gonna just go with this one, how it has just a big flame going across it. I think I'm gonna just go with that. I'm really enjoying this so far, and I hope you are too.